Welcome to That1 Podcast. If you're ready to break free from the ordinary, this is where real stories of real game changers come to life. Are you ready to be that one? Welcome back to That1 Podcast. It's your boy C-Roc here. I'm with my friend, Ephraim Ebstein. He's here. He's from San Diego right now, or he's located there right now. And he's got a great business. We met through the 10X organization back in the day when we were going to 10X events and hanging with Grant and Brandon and developed a friendship. And, you know, look, I want to support my friends, but also he's a client at That1. And I want to like get you guys introduced to this guy. Ephraim, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, Mike. Excited to be on with you, bro.
Yeah, man, me too. It's been a long time coming. I don't know why we waited so long.
I know. It's finally happening. So thanks for having me as a guest.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. So let's start off with this. Where are you from originally?
So, you know, I was born in San Francisco, but I was raised in San Diego, and I still live here in San Diego. So I'm a Californian, but my dad's originally from Germany, and I lived out there for a little, you know, off and on for short periods of time. So I kind of have a second home in Germany too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got to get to Europe. I haven't been to Europe before. I got
Oh,
to get out there. I don't know what to wait for.
To go, and if you do go, put Germany on the list. It's one of those places that a lot of people, it's not like their first choice usually. But when people go, it tends to be one of those places where people are like super surprised. And they're like, wow, I did not know I was going to like it as much as I did. And I think part of that is a lot of the Disney nostalgia that people grew up with is heavily German inspired. So a lot of the old fairy tales, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, even like Beauty and the Beast, which is supposed to be in France, yeah. But all the architecture, the castle, the clothes she's wearing is all German. So it's kind of, you go there and you get like, without even knowing, you kind of get that nostalgic stuff.
Yeah. Well, the closest I've been is Busch Gardens in Williamsburg. They have a Germany section. So just go in there and watch the dancing and I forget what they call it. The Festus, I guess it's called, or Oktoberfest. Yeah. So
definitely.
Yeah. So now you've been going on some podcasts recently, and what are some of the things you've been like, what's been drawn out of you podcast guesting? What are some of the topics you've been talking about?
You know, it depends on the host. Some hosts like to talk about kind of the origin story. I kind of go into that a lot. They also like to talk about AI. It's one of the things we deal with a lot. Some also have gone into cybersecurity because that's one of our core businesses, but not as much has gone into leadership as I thought. So, yeah. But that's okay. Like it's the couple have as well. So, well, yeah, those are kind of the things. But they've been great podcasts, great hosts, some really cool people that I've gotten to be a guest with.
Well, one thing I'll tell you, and I don't know if you've done this already, I don't assume anything. So one powerful thing about podcasting is every host that you've been on, you should go back and do a 15-minute networking call with them and just talk to them about what they're working on right now, what their business is, what their vision is, where they're going. And then when you're actively listening, start thinking about what you can say to speak into it, whether it's a connection to someone else, like thinking of just ways to serve them, right? And it may be something like you might be able to do business for them, like, you know, with them, but it might be a connection and a collaboration, like just building a relationship or something, or finding out about an event they want to invite you to. Like when you show interest in them on like a call after the podcast and just look for ways to serve, dude, it's a game changer. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done it 1,200 plus times.
Definitely to circle back and keep in contact with them. That's great. Because
they're some of the most connected people, around too. And podcast hosts love to connect people. It's just one of the, like in the nature of the beast. So, but, So, all right, let's talk about the business. Now you're the CEO of an IT, company, cybersecurity, you work with AI as well. Are you the founder too, or did you get brought in as the CEO?
I am the founder. I started, Fit Solutions. That was the first company. I left my job. I jumped, to the scary jump, man. Scariest thing I ever did in my life was quit a stable job to go to complete instability, being a business owner. But I did it, and that was a big thing. And then, I've grown it, grown the team. We've scaled the company, and then also started. So that was 2012. 2015, I spun up a second company that's on the cybersecurity side that kind of could feed IT, and IT can feed it. So it's symbiotic, And then since then, a few more branches have sprouted off the tree. So one is healthcare, where we do a very specific niche of placing talent into health organizations, specifically for Epic systems, integrations, implementations, rollouts. We specialize in that software. And then we've also kind of spun off a AI division. So once again, we've got super niche on the AI. We specialize in setting up AI employees that communicate over text message. Very niche.
Yeah.
Basically think about like an AI bot, but integrating it into the systems and also having it communicate over text and be so good that the person talking thinks they're talking to a real human. They don't think they're talking to a bot or an automation.
Right.
That's the trick. There's no turnkey thing to make it that really happen, even though there's a lot of advertisements making it seem that way. It's not. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So we take the technology out of there. Sorry, we take that technology, we do the integration, the implementations, the build outs for companies for that specific thing. And it saves them labor big time, because they can usually replace a few headcount. And in some cases, it also generates revenue depending on the task that we're having the AI employee do. So it can, generate through communication if there's a lot of leads, or if it's following up on dead leads that the sales team is not getting success with. So there's things of that nature that we'll set up. So yeah, we've it's kind of, the tree has sprouted a lot of arms, and now we're actually starting a new division in Central America, Costa Rica, fit Latin America. And so and that one once again is going to be really niche. It's for the banking industry in Central America.
Oh, wow.
And helping them kind of like streamline their technical operations within the banks. So
how the heck did you end up there? Like you're here in the US doing your thing.
A talent that we were going through an acquisition. We were trying to do an acquisition. That was an opportunity that kind of came our way, a friend of a friend, and they have an established business down there that had 4 owners on it. And the main president that really ran the operation was not the main owner. He was only about 27%. And the ownership that had the biggest percentile, he was about 62%. But he wasn't an active partner. In fact, he wasn't even in Costa Rica. And they've been around for around 13 years doing bank deployments, had a really good reputation. So kind of through the acquisition, we were starting that relationship with the guy with the biggest percentage. We couldn't come to any kind of reasonable valuation. He just wanted a huge astronomical number. And the guy that was active in the business wanted us to really buy, because he clashed with the majority shareholder, because he was like, basically at the end of the year, he would siphon, I guess you could call it, but for tax purposes, he's moving the profits out of Costa Rica into Ecuador, and because it's better taxes. But then when it drew down the taxes, the other shareholders, he wasn't doing it in a fair way, where he was doing his 62%. He was doing all 100%.
Jeez.
And it was impacting their distributions in a negative way. So they didn't like that, basically. So that was, that was the thing. Anyway, the deal fell through. That was about 1.5 years ago. We were working on that deal. It fell through. We kind of walked away from it. And the guy that's kind of the president of Costa Rica, that's really the one running the deals and running day-to-day operations, he's like, dude, I'm walking away. I can't do it anymore. He's like, if you guys spin up a Costa Rican entity and employ me, I will come over there. As contacts follow me. In fact, I have a contract right now that hasn't signed. They heard I'm leaving. They could be the first customer. And so I was like, let's go. So I'm basically investing in this talent, this resource, and we're going to get the first 2 contracts that haven't signed with the other company yet, but they want to work with him. They don't want to sign with the other company knowing that he's leaving, because they want him overseeing the deployment.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah. You know what? It's all about relationships, man. And like, you know, more relationships you bring in, the more people you serve and help, the more opportunities come up, and then you can, you know, pick and choose what the right ones are for you. Now, speaking of that, when you're starting to expand, how do you know when it is a time to start a new vertical? You know, with the current vertical, making sure that you don't lose with the attention that you have.
I need to. I honestly think have too many verticals, and I don't want to do any more. But that said, I learned a lesson. So the very first second company I ever spun up was a CrossFit gym. So I had my IT company, and then I spun up this CrossFit gym. And that was a terrible idea.
That's like quite aligned.
It was a terrible idea. It was a $250,000 mistake, when $250,000 was like
a lot more than that is now to you.
Yeah, it's still a lot of money, but it was life-changing money at that time.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably worth like $2 million now. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was so much more, right? So it was around 2014. So only 2 years out of starting the IT business. IT business is doing well.
Yeah.
So sorry, the IT business is doing well, and so I'm like, hey, why don't let's do this CrossFit business. And the CrossFit, I had now my attention divided, and it was not symbiotic in any way.
Yeah, one feeding the other.
So the CrossFit business was just losing money, because I wasn't there like being a coach. I had to run the IT business. So by
the way, why CrossFit? Why CrossFit business? Was it something you were into at that time? Like you were
You know what? It's the stupidest reason. I liked CrossFit.
Yeah.
I was looking for office space for the IT business, and I came across this really cool bank that had been sitting empty for like 9 years. And it was a standalone business, windows all around. And it wasn't like an ideal rental for the office space that I wanted. But I was like, this would be such a cool CrossFit. And
yeah.
That's why it's so stupid. And I was like, oh, I'm diversifying or whatever. I didn't, didn't have a mentor guiding me.
Yeah.
So, fast forward 2.5, 3 years later, just losing tons of money, divided attention. It was, and then I just basically gave it away. I couldn't even sell it because it was up, it was losing money every month. So I basically found a guy, sold him the equipment for $20,000. It was probably like $100,000 of equipment, right?
Yeah.
So
just cut your losses, right?
Completely. Let him take over the lease, have the book of business, and just literally gave it to him. I even tried the employees that were there. One of them, I offered it to the employees. I'm like, if you guys take it, it's yours. You can have it. They didn't want to take that risk.
Yeah.
Of being on the hook for the lease and everything.
Right. So lesson learned. And so then as you add verticals in the future, it's got to be symbiotic. It's got to feed each other. It's got to be in line.
So you do IT services. Now I'm doing cybersecurity services. It's neck and neck, right? So if you're doing IT, you kind of have to do cyber, or a certain amount of it. Like, it's not that much for me to add on penetration testing and 24/7 monitoring, which I wanted to do in-house, not just outsource it. So I had to staff for it, but now I'm adding basically another line of business right in the same thing. Same thing with like the AI. It's kind of we're doing AI integration. Yes, it's different, but it's not that different than doing
no,
other
it's actually,
software
wait a minute.
integration.
It's
like
actually
that,
not, it's not actually another vertical. Actually, it's just a product suite. It's you developed a product suite. Now, whether you put them in different businesses, but it's really not it's more of a just different products. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? If you're at the store, you have several products, but you didn't start a new store necessarily.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then like the Latin America thing, it's like, hey, the opportunity came. We've already started. We already have about a tenth of our business, or sorry, about a tenth of our staff and team members are outside the U.S. A few are in South and Central America already. So for us to now add some more,
Yeah.
and build off of somebody's network there, it's once again, and we can now cross-sell cybersecurity services into these banks. Makes sense.
Yeah. Makes sense. 100%. So then, okay. So then, you built your business into the 30s and millions and in that range or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's, look,
I've actually even had people come to me and want me to be a business partner on their business unrelated. And I said no. And
right.
just because it was like too far out of the vertical. And I was like, I can't. I cannot. I had these guys really begging me one time, these young guys. I gave them as much encouragement and guidance as I could to start their own business, but they wanted me to be on a business partner because they thought by me joining them, I could help them, make this thing fly.
Right. But you just don't want to, you don't want to disperse your attention.
I couldn't do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, I built an 8-figure business. I know what it takes. And a lot of people don't realize it. They see the things happen. They don't know what all the sleepless nights, the heartache, the people problems, all the things that we all go through to learn through this. So I have an appreciation for that. So what now we met in the Cardone Ventures space, and we took a leadership training course, which is really like a doctorate in leadership. Let's face it. It was really good.
It's great.
I gotta say, it's good stuff. It works. And you're listening to somebody that's built a 9-figure business and learning from them. So I definitely employed it into the mortgage business while I was doing it. Now I'm in a different space and I'm just employing the same information. And what was the difference in your business from when you, prior to being involved with Cardone Ventures till afterwards?
Yeah, they've definitely become great mentors of mine. And I have a lot of love and respect for Brandon, Natalie, and Grant. And I think in a world of thousands of people offering mentorship, a very small percentage of them are the real deal. And, it kind of drives me crazy when I see these young guys being business coaches, mentors, and you're like, well, what have you actually built? And the only thing they're referring to is their coaching business. And I'm like, that's not quite the same thing, whereas they've like legitimately built and scaled organizations successfully that they can point to. And when you get in there, you start learning the content, you're like, this is the real deal. This is not like just hypothetical theory. This is the real deal, because they've had to eat their own dog food, and they continue to eat their own dog food, and even their own processes are getting better, and they teach those. And so when we put those into the business, it really helped. I was at a breaking point in the scaling process where I was bringing in revenue, but now there was a lot of disorder, dysfunction, some toxicity even, and within my team and my group. And I had to reset the culture essentially. And I changed. I mean, I could go deep into a lot of the things I learned and I changed, but high level, getting focused on the mission vision and the core values and what we're doing every day, the metrics, which sounds pretty basic, but easier said than done. And then really I shifted from running the company like a family to running it like a sports team, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or a friends group, from running it like, hey, everybody, loves and cares and takes care, and we want everyone to succeed. And it's like, we don't run it like that anymore. We run it like a pro sports team trying to win the Super Bowl. And there's a difference. Now, it doesn't mean there can't be love and celebration and care for other people on the team, but there's a performance requirement, and there's discipline, and there's accountability. And if you can't make it on the team, you can't make it on the team. But you still can be friends with people on the team. But a friendship will never keep someone on the team. It's your stats.
I remember some of the conversations we had.
Yeah.
Like in the group and all that. Like, yeah, I mean, it was like, I remember it, like, and I dealt with it in my company too. And I'm listening to other people going through the stuff, and I'm like, oh, I have this issue, but I don't want to talk about it. I just like learn from it. But yeah.
I need to learn more, because I still, as much as I've learned, I'm at, and I've scaled my business to this point. For me now to go to the next thing, right? So we're probably going to end the year at 37, 38 million in revenue. Well, for us to go from that to 100 million to 200 to 300 million, I've never done that. I've never been that guy. I've never been that CEO. I've never, and it's different, right? So if I can learn the knowledge that I need, that I can then execute on to successfully do that, which I know I can. But the question is, how fast can I learn it, and how fast can I execute? That's the big difference. And so I'm kind of at a place where time is valuable. I don't want to stumble through it. I don't want to learn the hard way no more on anything. I only want to learn the easy way, and the easy way is learning from someone else's mistakes and then avoiding those and repeating their successes. That's the easy way. The hard way is doing it yourself. And a lot of entrepreneurs might verbally say they want the easy way, but they really choose the hard way.
Oh yeah,
because they think their way is better, and there's maybe a little bit of arrogance or cockiness or whatever. Because I had that, and I think about, if I could reset and do the last 13 years over, how much faster and better, how much more further along would I have been if I had implemented those, if I had known that knowledge and implemented that way before.
Yeah. Well, one of the things is the first barrier to learning is thinking you know everything.
Yeah.
And that's what we see in a lot of people. And you fail to observe and fail to be curious when that happens. And then you do learn the hard way, because we're always forced to learn lessons. And when you're forced to learn lessons, you got to go through some shit.
Yes.
So that's what you're speaking of. The other thing, I learned a couple things. Number one, when we got involved with that, it didn't cost a penny. It cost dollars, like big boy money. Right. And you think about that, like they knew what they were worth. Right. That's a thing for me that I noticed about Grant and Brandon, and they know what they're worth, and they're not afraid to charge it. And then they stand behind it. Right. And so many people that are out there in the business world undercharge because they don't see their own value. And how is a customer and a client's going to see their value when they don't even feel it themselves? And so I noticed that. I noticed another thing was, like, they stepped into being an identity. And they surrounded that identity with accomplishments, not like they didn't fake it, right? It was accomplishments, but most people accomplish things and they never take time to assess how far they've come. And they look at all their experience and then they shape their identity around that. And then they go out into this world and they be this identity. And I noticed this transformation with Brandon from when he first started to as he was going through the process and being around Grant, understanding, like, stepping into this thing and getting out there and promoting himself and what he's done versus being in undercover in a way. And so for me, like, going out and creating what we create, like, I know what we're worth. I don't have a problem. And we've designed everything that we do around the value that we have, and we're not afraid to talk about that. I had a client a while back when we first started the agency, and they were saying that they wanted to get on some good podcasts and this and that. And they said, what's the packages? And I went over it with him. He's like, why are you so cheap? And I was like, huh? Like, what do you mean, why so? I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, I don't think this is for me. And just because it wasn't priced high enough, he didn't sign up. So I noticed that was one of the lessons I learned from big time. Then the other thing I also watched is like when they were going through like problems themselves, right? People problems themselves, bad press, an employee leaving or whatever, you've seen some things, whatever, and seeing how they handle it and watching if they practice what they preach.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, true. This is so funny. There's this was even before I had started my own company. And in fact, this is a guy I went to when I was ready to start my own company, and I asked for advice if what he thought about me starting my own company. His name is Dano, and he owns Mako spear guns. And I'm an avid spear fisherman, and he started this company. I mean, I don't remember what year it was, but dude, his company. So this is when forums were still like a really big thing. I don't know if you've ever, like, if you were into any kind of hobby or sport.
Yeah.
Forums have kind of gone away, and they've kind of been replaced with like Facebook groups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But forums, and there was a couple spearfishing forums. One was Spearboard, huge forum. I had to go on there. I'd read every day the new threads and contribute. And dude, this dude Dano got so much hate on his company, right? It was unwarranted, and but people just hated on it because some of the designs he bought a rights to a license of a certain design that another designer was using, and it was all legal and everything, but just from the community standpoint, it was so hateful, and they would bag on him, and he would go on and this, you're like, what does it matter on a forum? It mattered a lot, like, because this is where a lot of people in the community would go for information, and a lot of what they would buy would be influenced by what was said on forums, right? Because it's kind of a smaller community. And he would go on there, and he would never retaliate, insult. His responses to stuff was, even when he was being like attacked, was just so gentlemanly and a class act. And I remember like, man, dude, like this dude is like, just doesn't let this stuff, I'm sure he was bothered, but he did not let
it didn't show, right? He was impenetrable.
Never showed.
Yeah.
And he was gracious and straightforward, and I ended up meeting this guy years later, and he is a really genuinely nice guy and a gentleman. And but the way he ran that business, his business is still thriving today. There's a lot of businesses in the space that have come and gone, but I remember that, and I'm like, man, that's the way to handle some of these adverse things. And it like, there's people that observe it, and I was just a lesson I learned. And so I remember, like, I'll respond. I've had some heated situations, not often, but we had one where customer was a great customer for many years. New guy moves into the department, and he decides he doesn't want, I mean, he hadn't even barely worked with us, but he decides he doesn't want to work with us anymore, doesn't want to renew the contract. He has his own way of doing things. Okay, fine. We contracts up, we're bowing out. But this dude like didn't want to pay some of the last bills, and to try and get out of it, he's like slinging dirt. And he's like, throwing stuff up that doesn't even, excuse me,
Right.
doesn't even matter. Like, hey, you had this thing on your glass door. And I mean, he's just doing like low blows trying to attack us. It has nothing to do with the contract even. I'm like, dude, why are you even throwing this in here?
Right.
Other than just to like try and hurt me in some way. But we were just like super gracious, super classy, on the way out. And that was just something I learned. And so, just not letting, I like Brandon said this too. The only emotion that should exist in business is celebration.
Mm-hmm.
Every other emotion should be removed from the equation.
Yeah. I've taken that from him as well. Yeah. I mean, it's so easy to get worked up, and then you say things you don't want to say, and you do things, irrational things really fast. And yeah, for me, man, it's always understanding how people are. I've done a lot of studying on human behavior and understanding based on emotions what people, you can actually predict people's behavior based on their emotions. And it's undefeated. Like I'll look at somebody's, where are they chronically with their emotions, and are they in constructive mode or destructive mode, and keep the destructive people away from you, out of your environment, like at all costs. And especially clients, not just employees, clients. Like if they're not, if they're destructive, man, you got to exit the part, even if you got to get rid of some money, just like pay to get rid of the problem. So yeah, I love that. So, all right, well, where can people go deeper with you that want to learn more about the IT services, cybersecurity, AI, bots? Where can they check you out, Ephraim?
Well, you can find, the website is fitsolutions.biz, but you can also hit me up on LinkedIn. You can find me on Instagram, on Facebook, wherever you like to be, and let's connect. And love to make new relationships and friends.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you, your friendship, and obviously working with us, allowing us to work with you, get you out there. But folks, you're going to see more of him with me, because I'm going to get him introduced to That1 Network and show him the power of what we've built over here, because he hasn't heard of it yet, and that's on me. It's totally my fault. I gotta get out to more people and make sure they know what we got here, especially my friends. So Ephraim, thank you so much for your time today, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, hang tight while I wrap this up, folks. That's it for this That1 podcast. I have two podcasts, Ephraim. I get confused sometimes what podcast I'm on. That1 podcast with your boy C-Roc and Ephraim Ebstein, sharing what he's made of and how he is that one in his business. Keep coming back. Make sure you hit the subscribe, follow button at the top of your favorite podcast platform, and keep coming back. Till next time, be that one.